What if I told you there was a goalie in the last 10 years who had a negative save percentage in a game? Hello everybody, my name is Stick and Puck TV. Thank you all for joining me. Today we're going to talk about the worst single game performance by a goalie in the modern NHL, where Antti Niemi let in 3 goals in only 4 minutes on two shots. But first, how did we get here? It's January 2017. The Minnesota Wild are on an absolute tear, just ripping through the league, with their leaders of Mark Stahl, Mikael Granlund, and Devan Dubnyk. I know that's a crazy thing to say out loud, Devan Dubnyk leading the team. Well, he was in 2017. He would solidify the 2017 season with a .923 save percentage and a 2.25 goals against average, which is insane, especially for a goalie who hadn't really achieved much up to that point. But whatever, we're not talking about him. Let's go back to the story. Now, in January, the Wild are coming off of a 12-1-1 month in December. Just like I said, tearing through the league. They're hoping to continue their momentum, and at the start of January, it certainly looked like they would. They started the month off 3-0-1, and were prepared to march into Dallas and continue that dominance. But Dallas, on the other hand, it looked like they were probably going to let that happen, as they were having a completely just disappointing season. They were predicted to finish first in the Central by the Hockey News, which you can see here. However, they were all but completely failing. Instead of bulldozing their way through the league as expected, they were struggling to stay above 500, showcased by their December performance, finishing 7-6-1. Dallas's goaltending especially was a mess. After a poor start to the season, Dallas' starter for 6 years, Kari Lehtonen, lost his starter's net to, guess who? Antti Niemi. Let's take a look at his career. Antti Niemi was a Finnish goaltender who started his career in Chicago, playing 3 games for them in 2009. Niemi did not have a lot of expectations, coming into the league undrafted. However, he did have some big shoes to fill. Coming from Finland, who had produced elite goaltender after elite goaltender, including Pekka Rinne, Mika Kiprusoff, Tuukka Rask, and many others. However, after his first season, he would quickly fill these shoes, leading Chicago to their first Stanley Cup in almost 50 years, boasting an impressive 2.63 goals allowed average and a okay .910 save percentage. He was also the first Finnish-born goalie ever to win the Stanley Cup. After this season, however, due to contract disputes, he would move to San Jose, signing a 1-year deal with them for $2 million in 2010.
Oh baby, oh mama.
He was expected to take over for Evgeny Nabokov at this time, who would be leaving due to salary cap issues, and Niemi would flourish from that point. He became San Jose's full-time starter at the end of year 1, after splitting most of the year with Antero Niittymaki, who had missed the later half of the season due to injury and would retire from the NHL after the season due to those injuries. Niemi did not disappoint though, averaging a respectable .909 save percentage during his time as starter for the Sharks. And in the summer of 2015, when his starter time would end, his RFA rights were traded to Dallas, where they would sign him to a 3-year deal worth $13.5 million. He was slated to split the season with the longtime starter Kari Lehtonen, and he did, starting the first game of the 2015 season with a shutout and 2 assists against the Pittsburgh Penguins, making his mark on the city of Dallas immediately. This was just an incredible way for him to start the season. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better. A shutout and 2 assists? Whew, what a start. But unfortunately, they wouldn't finish this season all that well, losing on in the second round against St. Louis. So that brings us to the 2016-2017 season, though. Both Antti Niemi and Kari Lehtonen were performing very poorly. You know, like we said, they were expected to do so much better than they were, and it seemed like their goaltending was going to be the reason that they were failing. They both started to split games again. However, due to Niemi's poor performance to start the season, Lehtonen was given the starter's crease. But Lehtonen would also falter, so they gave Niemi the starting crease, where he would hold it to this day, where our story starts. On Saturday, January 14th, 2017, the nightmare would begin for Antti Niemi. But early on, it looked pretty promising for Dallas. Minnesota announced that their backup goalie, Darcy Kuemper, would get the start. Kuemper at this time was not bad by any stretch of the imagination. However, we already talked about how good Devan Dubnyk was doing this season, and I mean, it was clearly showing. Devan Dubnyk was just outstanding, so Dallas thought hey, maybe we could take one away from Minnesota here. However, the dreams of stealing this game away from the powerhouse Wild quickly fell apart, as Dallas defenseman Johnny Oduya would be the first to strike in this game from a rebound. Yay, Dallas scores, right? No. He would score on his own team after a rebound shot that was stopped. It was stopped by Antti Niemi. But own goals don't count as shots, so it was still 1 goal on 1 shot. A minute 40 later, Eric Stahl would come down the wing on a 2-on-1 with Zach Parise, and he would score 5-hole. Now, at this time, the NHL scorekeeper did not count this as a shot, initially believing that Stahl had lost control of the shot and managed to slip it under Niemi anyways. This would not count as a shot. However, this was clearly wrong as you replay it, and you could see that the shot was clearly intentional. However, that's what the score sheet said, so it was 2-0 Minnesota, with Minnesota only having 1 shot. And only 1 minute later, defenseman Matt Dumba would jump into the rush and shoot high blocker on Niemi, scoring Minnesota's 3rd goal in the first 4 minutes and 1 seconds of the game. This would prompt Niemi getting the hook, being the first goalie in NHL history with a negative save percentage, allowing 3 goals on just 2 shots. But, I mean, let's look at this. Let's take a little bit of a dive in this. None of these goals are exceptionally terrible. You could argue that the 5-hole goal was not the greatest. The far side blocker shot looked bad, but these aren't easy saves by any stretch of the imagination. However, Niemi that season kind of had a history of faltering in the big moments, collapsing, letting in bad goals, so this would kind of solidify his legacy, and nothing would really be the same from here. However, you want to know the craziest part of this story? Dallas almost won this game. Minnesota would score a 4th goal on Kari Lehtinen, making it 4-0. However, Dallas would come back, and essentially in the 3rd, they made it 4-4, but Jason Zucker would come back. He would tip in a late game winner, and it saved the story from being about 2 abysmal performances. The NHL would eventually change the score sheet to reflect properly that Niemi had allowed 3 goals and 3 shots, putting his final stats at 44.81 goals allowed average with a 0 save percentage. Dallas writers and fans would immediately call for Niemi to be benched and give the starter's net to Lehtinen, which Dallas would do, giving Niemi only 8 more starts in the following 4 months, where he went 3-5-0. Meanwhile, Dallas would go on to finish 6th in the Central Division, missing the playoffs, a major disappointment from the first place where many hockey writers predicted them to finish. As for Niemi, at the end of this season, they had had enough. They bought him out. They said, we're done. But the Pittsburgh Penguins signed him, and he started 3 games for them in the 2017-2018 season. However, this didn't go very well. He went 0-3-0 with a .797 save percentage and a 7.50 goals allowed average, which is, even if you don't know about hockey, those are some big numbers. That was a terrible performance. After these 3 games, he was put on waivers again, where he'd be claimed by the Florida Panthers. However, this didn't go well either. He played in 2 games, only starting 1, which he lost, and he went with a .853 save percentage and a 5.03 goals allowed average, which, better than .797 and 7.5, but still not good, not NHL level at all. He was dropped to waivers again after this, but this time he'd be picked up by Montreal, where he actually finished the season okay. 7-9-4 with a .929 save percentage, the greatest of his career, and a 2.46 goals allowed average. Unfortunately for Niemi and Montreal, this would not last, as in the 2018-2019 season, Niemi would go 8-6-2 with a .887 save percentage and a 3.78 goals against average. This season would be Niemi's last in the NHL, unfortunately, as no other team would sign him after his contract with Montreal ended. So, he returned to his home nation of Finland to play with Jokerit of the Continental Hockey League, or the KHL, where he put up similar numbers to his time in Montreal, about a .89 save percentage and about a 3 goals allowed average. However, something happened in 2020, not sure if you remember, but kind of screwed everything up. So, his season ended due to COVID-19, and he would retire for good at this point. His NHL stat line of his career would be 242 140 and 57 with a .912 save percentage and a 2.57 goals against average with 36 shutouts. So not bad as a career, but certainly damaged by the last 3 or so years of his career in the NHL. So the game against Minnesota would ultimately be the death blow to Niemi, destroying not only his chance to play, but also his confidence, which reflected on the remainder of his career, except for that little stint where he did okay in Montreal, but I mean, overall, he was never the same goalie after this game. And while, yes, you know, you can look at NHL history and you can find other stat lines that may be worse than this, I believe this game not only had the most impact on the Stars, as after this season they would go out and acquire Ben Bishop, who did outstanding work for them, but it also damaged Niemi overall. And I believe that proves that this was the worst, most detrimental single game performance by any goalie in modern NHL history. So thank you all for watching. I really appreciate you being here. I hope you all liked this one. I kind of did a different thing, if you can tell. You all are seeing the back of my room instead of the front of it, so I hope you all liked that. Hopefully this was more smooth. This was done in one fluid-ish take, so kind of makes it easier to sit and watch, sit and listen to, with only a few cuts spliced with game footage. I'm trying to increase the production quality of these videos, and I'm hoping that you all will like them. Next episode, hoping to put out within a week. It's going to be my predictions for the 2024-2025 season. I have some crazy things. You know, I've got a lot of Preds bias, so you may see that come out in these videos. So please stick around, watch that. You know, let me know what you all think of this content. Let me know what you all think of this video. Just please give me some tips, some pointers, and I hope to see you all next week. Please subscribe, please like, and I'll see you all later. Bye.